Imagine a world not so long ago, where women had no right to vote, no real voice in politics, and very little control over their own lives. A world where decisions were made for women but never by them. And then one woman decided that silence was no longer an option. This is the story of Emmeline Pankhurst, the woman who helped change the course of British history forever. Emmeline Pankhurst was born on the 15th of July, 1858, in Manchester, England, into a family that already believed in equality and social justice. Her parents were politically active, and from a very young age, Emmeline was exposed to conversations about women's rights and injustice. As a child, she quickly realized something was terribly wrong with the world around her. Men had power, influence, and the right to vote, while women were expected to remain silent. That realization stayed with her, and over time it grew into a powerful sense of purpose. In her early adulthood, she met Richard Pankhurst, a barrister and a passionate supporter of women's suffrage. They shared the same vision, a fairer society where women had equal rights. They married, and together they began working towards that dream. But life had other plans. In 1898, Richard Pankhurst passed away, leaving Emmeline not only heartbroken, but also solely responsible for her children and their future. For many, such a loss would have meant stepping back, but for Emmeline it became a turning point. Instead of giving up, she chose to fight even harder. In 1903, she founded the Women's Social and Political Union, also known as the WSPU. Their message was simple, yet revolutionary. Deeds, not words. They believed that peaceful discussion alone was no longer enough. For years, women had politely asked for the right to vote, and for years they had been ignored. Emmeline and her followers decided it was time to be heard. They organized protests, marches, and public demonstrations. At first, their actions were met with resistance, and often complete dismissal, but they refused to disappear. As time went on, their methods became more direct and more confrontational. They disrupted political meetings, they broke windows, and they challenged the authority of the government in ways never seen before. Many people criticized them, calling them extreme, but Emmeline believed that without disruption, there could be no change. Her actions led to multiple arrests. She was sent to prison time and time again, but even behind bars her fight continued. She and other suffragettes began hunger strikes, refusing to eat as a form of protest. The government responded with force-feeding, a painful and controversial practice. Yet even that did not break her spirit. Each time she was released, she returned to the movement stronger than before. Her determination began to capture national attention. People across Britain started to question the system, to reconsider the role of women in society. Then came the outbreak of the First World War in 1914. At this critical moment, Emmeline made a strategic decision. She paused militant campaigning and encouraged women to support the war effort. Women stepped into roles that had previously been denied to them, working in factories, hospitals, and essential services. They proved beyond any doubt that they were capable, resilient, and indispensable to society. This shift in perception changed everything. In 1918, the British government passed a historic law, granting voting rights to women over the age of 30. It was not full equality, but it was a monumental step forward, a recognition long overdue. Emmeline had spent decades fighting for this moment, and although she knew the journey was not yet complete, she had helped open the door. Just a few weeks before her death in 1928, full voting equality was finally achieved in the United Kingdom. Women were granted the same voting rights as men. It was the victory she had dedicated her life to. Emmeline Pankhurst was not just a political activist. She was a force of nature, a woman who refused to accept injustice and refused to remain silent. Her legacy lives on, in every vote cast, in every voice raised for equality, and in every individual who dares to challenge the status quo. Her story reminds us that change is never easy. It is often uncomfortable, and sometimes even dangerous, but it is always possible, because history is not changed by those who stay silent. It is changed by those who are brave enough to speak, and bold enough to act. If you found this story inspiring, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more powerful stories from history. And remember, Real change begins the moment you decide not to stay silent.